Testing, one, two, testing, testing. Can everyone hear me? All right.
All right.
So we got a
So
nice
we got a nice
healthy
healthy
volume level.
level. Got my T too. T.
Got my
Got my T
also.
also. So
Let's get
let's
this
get this
podcast started.
Oh yeah, that T is pretty hot. Okay. That's some good stuff we're gonna talk about today.
Testing, one,
Testing,
two,
one,
testing.
two, testing.
All right.
Okay, good.
Everything just
Everything
fine. Testing.
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 Testing. Cool.
Sounds super loud.
and noisy.
But that's
But
what.
that's whatever.
All right.
All right, so
let's get into
this.
Hi guys.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Brook Creators Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Instagram DPs.
What are
they?
Why you should avoid them? And
how not to become one. Also,
Let's just get straight
into it.
My name is Reese
Moffat.
I
I am a filmmaker. College dropout, I guess you could say, also from filmmaking school or film school. Yeah, that's my credentials. That's fancy.
But
basically,
what is this
new
breed of
breed of
Instagrammers
Instagrammers I discovered? I don't know if I can really call breed, but I just use some good insight on them
and
and how not to become one also. Because
what I've
what I've noticed is
there's
kind of like these two to three-ish type of filmmakers that you'll ever meet.
So there's
there's
the
ones that have the film, their pages for filmmaking.
never
post on them.
post like
Every 6 months.
a screen
grab something they worked on, something film related. Then there's the person that posts religiously every set they've been on, which is kind of me. I'm not gonna lie. I recognize that I post a lot. In the grand scheme of things, they post every set they've been on, post every camera they've worked with. Just like
they use their
Instagram
Instagram
account
almost
like a resume
to
show,
hey,
hey,
I have
I have
qualifications.
qualifications.
Hey,
I've looked at this.
I'm
like this.
yada, yada, yada. I
I
deserve
deserve
whatever.
whatever.
I'm not
I'm not
even
gonna use the word I deserve, but
I
I'm
diverse
diverse in my film sets.
if you shall
If you
say
shall
so.
say so.
It's kind
It's kind of like the media, they post film work, photography, design. They kind of just, it's a personal Instagram account with a little bit of what their work's on there. So they're kind of like control basically.
But these
These
Instagram
Instagram DPs,
they're kind of just different. They'll create a whole page dedicated to something filmmaker.
So it'll be like,
let's say
for example,
Reese Moffat
DP.
That'll be my
Instagram handle.
Not like
Not making fun of my friends that have it where it's
DP
after their Instagram handles, so people know that they're photography, but
there's
there's certain ways
some
some people do it.
and
And I start to notice this a little bit more.
and then
You'll see on there where they have a screen grab something they've shot or something they've worked on. It's like
beautiful
screen grab, beautiful colors, rich, clear textures, got all the things that look freaking gorgeous. Like little three-piece layers, so like top, middle, left, like a top, middle, bottom, three-piece, so they'll have like a slide through and stuff like that.
Beautiful screen grabs, projects they worked on.
No, nice. They're like the work is
top
quality.
quality.
But
man,
man,
when you
actually go onto the
sets,
sets, share this link with this friend also.
But
go on there and like actually
work
with them or go onto a set that they're on.
Palsy doesn't resemble what we saw on our Instagram. It's almost like false advertising. Like, what's going on here? Like, this doesn't seem right. Something is just not adding up.
In my eyes,
That's how I feel. Something's not adding up for sure.
And I'm just like,
why is like the show like such a high quality work, but then you look at it, you're just like, I don't get it. Just like,
and I use
and I use
proper
proper settings, they're not knowing how to use indies, app jack sky high, the shutter speed is ridiculous. Like they're using weird shift on the white balance. Like these things don't make sense. And then we see so like, oh hey, take a picture of me right next to the camera. It's not even their camera, or they might not even be doing a position on set where it involves them to be a camera operator. They might be a first AC, they might be a PA, they might be gaffers. Like, take a picture next to the camera. Like,
I understand.
Back in the day, I used to be like that too.
Whatever set
had a red and Ari on it, obligatory had to take a picture of the camera next to it and post on your social media.
But this
is the way you do it. Take a picture of that. Wow, look, I was working on set with the camera. Don't pose like you're the camera operator for that set. Like that's kind of look down, bro. Don't do that. Hey, audio second and old. Oh, I know why.
That's my other mic.
Two mics picking up audio at the same time. That should fix it. Yes. Really?
What audio? That sounds like a live stream
camera audio.
I take that back. There's like 3 cameras picking up the audio all at the same time, or 3 mics. That should hopefully be better. Yep. Testing. Well, good thing I was still actually recording the audio separately also on Audition, so that should fix that issue. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, amateur hour. But basically, what I was also saying about the obligatorily taking pictures of the cameras on set. I understand that. Necessary. Go on set, you see a red, you see a R, you see a Panavision, you gotta take pictures next to it. It's required. It's filmmaking law. Just don't pretend to be the DP or camera operator on set and post on Instagram like you were the operator. Just take a picture of the camera, admire it from a distance, be on your way. The next thing an Instagram DP will do is they'll work on an entire music video. It'll come out okay, or they'll work on a project and it'll look okay. They'll take the best screen grabs from everything they've shot, color grade it, edit it, try to season it to perfection, and then post those on their social media, showing off their best work essentially. Understandable, but that doesn't reflect how their actual work look like, and they never post the final videos on their Instagram. Why? Because it looks nothing like it looks nothing like what you would anticipate it to sound like, or what you anticipate it to look like on their Instagram. So it's like you actually see a finished product, you're like, well, these screen grabs look amazing, but then you see like the finished music video, like this looks horrible. Like everything's jittery, the white balance is off. It just doesn't reflect how their Instagram showcases them. So just be wary about those people. You know, if you're gonna hire someone, let's say if you're a director or a producer and you're looking to hire a DP or a director of photography, just make sure you look at what their actual video work looks like and don't just base it off of their Instagram feed. Now, I'm guilty of this too. I tried to do it better though. What I'll do is I'll post screen grabs of what I worked on, but then I'll later add a carousel next to it and post the actual video work to it. Or if I'm posting screen grabs, it's because I haven't finished editing yet, and I'm eventually going to post the finished videos on there. But if you contact me and say, hey, I want to hire you, Reese, to DP this, I'll send you the final videos. I'll send you my demo reel. I'll send you finished videos so you know what my work looks like. So it's not just, oh yeah, these are what the screen grabs look like. I'm not coming for people's necks, but that is one of my pet peeves at the moment, because there's a project I'm going to be working on in the future, and at this project I've worked on in the past month, where these Instagram DPs will be working on these projects, and you're just like, I don't understand why they're the DPs. Like, I could show you some photos of people, the guy that had like a shutter speed of like 1/1600, and he's shooting outside, and I'm just like, this makes no sense. This is what ND means. And he's just like, I don't like it. I'm just like, what do you mean you don't like ND? Like that's like the three pillars of exposure, or it's technically the fourth pillar of exposure: ISO, aperture, shutter speed, and then like NDs. Like how do you just like be like, no? That's like saying like, I don't use my aperture. I just set at whatever when I turn the camera on, and I just leave it there and I just adjust everything else. So it just like makes no sense in my brain. So that's just like a pet peeve that I have. God, I got so off topic from what's on my cliff notes here. Let's see, what else am I missing? Yeah, basically those Instagram DPs, they won't know the basics of lighting, setting, compositions, and they'll just take screen grabs. Like I said, I'm guilty of that too. If you go on my Instagram right now, you'll see screen grabs. But I also try to incorporate the final videos on there as well, so you know what it looks like. So it's not just like just this. So if you're gonna post your work, make sure you post screen grabs. Like that's the first one. Then like actually post your video work. Don't just post just screen grabs. If you're a cinematographer, DP, or videographer, by that means, post your actual work, please. Like, I want to see what your editing style looks like. Or I just want to see what your actual handheld looks like. I want to see how the shot played out, not just a small one frame snippet. That's my thing. To each its own. I have my piece now. I promise this podcast is not going to become a complete rant about just Instagram DPs. I'm not going to. I don't like it. Auto settings DP. Auto settings DP. Oh my lord. Please, Habib, you're getting me all riled up and flustered right now. These auto setting DPs. I'm gonna come for y'all next. Lord, Jesus Christ. Just don't. If you're gonna advertise yourself as a DP, if you're gonna solicit yourself to others, know your shit, please. Don't. It's fine not to know your shit. Just don't false advertise to clients and then get their expectations up. They work with you and then they get a product they're not happy with, and then you end up getting dragged through the mud. Your name gets dragged through the mud, and then you end up getting canceled from the film industry in whatever city you're in. Then you got to move to a different city. It's not fun for you, not fun for me to watch. Just don't do it. Don't be that guy. Don't manage client expectations, essentially. Manage client expectations. If you can do that, it'll be all good. All good, baby. Let's see. Is there any closing thoughts? Any other thoughts you have, Habib, that I should talk about? How can somebody work on their lighting, practice interior lighting without having access to any big lights? That is a great question, Habib. All right. I would love to expand upon that. How can someone work on their lighting practice without having anything? So, like, I'll use an example of literally me right now. I have COVID. I can't leave the house. What have I been doing all day? I've been video editing, I've been streaming, I've been podcasting, and I've been working on treatments for clients and lighting. The best way to work on lighting is literally just manipulate whatever you have. You don't have to go out there and buy these big fancy tube lights that I have in here that cost like, I don't know, $5,000 for a whole pack of 4 of them. You don't got to do that. You can literally take like a house light, like something in something in like a lamp. Take it, get it close to a person, see how light reacts to them. Put a shade on it, see how it softens up on their skin. Maybe you want to have something a little bit harsher. Maybe you want to have some bags underneath their eyes, have the lamp right in front of them. Or you can go to, Home Depot, get some can lights. Those things are great. Some tungsten can lights. They're bright. You can diffuse them. You can shape them. You can cut them. Really, once you get to a certain level of lighting, you can literally light with anything. You become a magician. Like, if a person left me in a room and said, all right, I want you to film a dramatic scene, and all you're left with is this cactus right here and this light right here, I'll figure out how to light with it. I'll be like, all right, this cactus, boom, I'm going to use this as a hair light because this is pretty bright in the frame, actually. So it's actually really bright in real life also. So I'll use that as like a hair light or whatnot. And I'll be like, all right, that blue, I'll use that as a little accent or something like that. You just got to work with what you got. I mean, you can have a sky panel for all you want, but if you don't know how to use a sky panel, you don't know how to shape the light, you don't know how to diffuse it, you don't know how to bounce it, it's just going to look like a giant whatever color source you have in the frame. So if you are given all the tools in the world and you don't know how to use it, it's still going to come out as shit. But if you give the best DP in the world the minimal amount of tools, he can still make it look amazing. That is another thing about these Instagram DPs. They think they need like sky panels and RE orbiters and all these fancy tools, and then when you give it to them, they're just like, well, just bounce it off the ceiling or bounce it off the wall because it's going to soften it up. Don't be afraid to use it. Try implement different lighting techniques. Try some book lighting. Maybe you want to do some overhead lighting. Maybe you want to do some beauty lighting. Whatever. Just don't go. This kind of just goes back to knowing how to light, basically, like playing with lights. Just taking time to do fun passion projects where you can experiment with it and do different things that you wouldn't normally do on a paid project to see how it reacts to people's skins, how the shadows are formed. Just kind of essentially just playing with it, playing with light. That's the main thing about playing with light. Great question, though, Habib. Great question. Just play with light. That is my main thing. Yeah. Do you have any other questions, Habib? That's a really good one. When are you going to come on the podcast also, huh? Because we can go round 2 and have you on the podcast, because I'm down for that for sure. For sure. But I think that'll wrap it up for this episode of the podcast. I'm going to be making one probably every night because I got time on my hands. If y'all have any topics, things you want me to discuss, things you want me to elaborate on, techniques, or anything you just want to hear my sad opinion on, make sure to drop it down in the comment section of here or on the actual Broke Creators Podcast YouTube channel, which will be linked down below as well. Once I get the YouTube channel up there running where I can actually stream, I'll be moving this podcast over to there. Technically supposed to be over there. I just can't stream on it yet because I need 24 hours to verify the account to make sure I'm not some weirdo person. So probably the next podcast after this will be on the Broke Creators Podcast. And you can also follow us on Instagram. We're going to have a website coming up soon. So there's so many places. We're going to have TikToks coming up where you can, see, a little short content and stuff like that. So if this fancies interests your fancy or whatever the phrase is, make sure to drop a subscribe. Like, this will also be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever podcasting place it is, probably by the end of the night. So, yeah. And I'll be doing these live normally, then re-editing them and putting them on there. So, but thank you for listening to the Broke Creators Podcast. I'm your host, Reese Moffitt. Next couple of podcasts, we'll have some co-hosts on there. If you want to be on the podcast, you have something exciting, juicy, interesting to tell me, drop your down in the comments section. Let's talk about it. All right. Appreciate it. See y'all in the next one. As a DP. Oh, yeah. I'm not trying to work. As a DP, what are your points of inspiration? I take inspiration from art books, animes. I'll talk about it in the next one where I get my inspiration. That's a good one for the next podcast. I'm gonna write that down right now. Let me write that down. Podcast ideas. Jesus, fuck, you put a lot of shit on here. Where do I get my DP inspiration? Dope. All right, now I can end the podcast. That's some juicy stuff.